December to Dismember, Kronus.
One not to remember.
What a show. What a great show. Hello, everyone. Honorary Zeus here, joined by Kronus the Bear.
Hello.
Artificial Intelligence Wrestling. I'm a bit under the weather today.
Bit of role reversal.
Yeah, it was Kronus' turn last time, so it's my turn now. So if you do hear me go quiet while Kronus is talking, I'm not ignoring him. I am probably dying in the corner quietly.
As long as you do it quietly, that's all right.
Exactly. We're here to talk about, well, we thought we'd try a new feature, which is A.I retro reviews. And I think this is probably as good as it's going to get, isn't it? We probably shouldn't have done this one first.
I mean, it's the start as you mean to go on, I suppose.
I guess so, yeah. So for those who don't know, December to Dismember was historically, I think there was one other edition of this, wasn't there, in 1995 when it was ECW. And this was a feeble, shall we say, attempt to reinvigorate the ECW brand in 2006.
Yeah.
And it's kind of meme-worthy, this pay-per-view, in terms of everyone acknowledges it as one of, if not the worst pay-per-views ever produced by WWE. And I think that's probably accurate, Kronus.
Yeah, it's pretty awful. I mean, fair enough trying to capitalise on the success of those 2005 and 6 One Night Stand pay-per-views, which are actually quite good.
Yeah.
But then WWE CW, as it was known, just wasn't, I mean, at all any good.
No, and this show was kind of the apex of that, wasn't it? And this was the nail in the coffin. So we're going to get some pictures up whilst we conduct our review. So Kronus and I have both made some notes. A.I Jeff has also written a charming review. I'm going to start with that, actually. So this is how Jeff summarizes December to Dismember. He says, all right, buckle up, dickheads, because we're driving into the shitstorm that was December to Dismember 2006. An event so fucking bad, it could only have been conjured up in the fevered dreams of wrestling's most inept scriptwriters of all time.
So
that's a cold open there by Jeff. Speaking of cold opens, we got a cold open by Paul Heyman hyping up the Extreme Elimination Chamber. And straight away with this pay-per-view, you could tell that the presentation was sort of desperate to recreate that ECW atmosphere with Drowning Pool, Let the Bodies Hit the Floor as a soundtrack, etc. Did you notice how small the arena was?
Yeah, the stage was a bit odd as well.
Yeah, and like when the camera pans to behind where the commentary is, all of a sudden there's just this wall where you think there should be more people. It just stops after like quite a short distance.
It's almost as if they knew.
Yeah.
Well, going to sell much.
Well, speaking of the numbers, this show had a 4,800 attendance.
Wow.
I know, and 90,000 pay-per-view buys, 55,000 of which were domestic, which is the lowest ever. I think it's still the lowest ever. I think maybe one of the bragging rights pay-per-views may have beat it since then. But yeah, very, very poor. And when you consider how hot wrestling was back then, and you know, A.I.W get a lot of stick for their attendance, and even their pay-per-views are doing double this. So it just puts into perspective how bad this attendance was. We had Joey Styles and Taz on commentary, who spent half the time calling boring matches and the other half fawning over half-naked women.
Yeah,
so
a few jokes here and there as well.
Yeah,
I think they were a good team. But
yeah, I felt sorry for what they had to call, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely.
So first match. This was one of the only 2 matches that were actually advertised for this show. This was Eminem versus the Hardy Boys. Kronus, do you want to go through your notes first? What do you think of this match?
Yeah, not the rapper Eminem, to just clarify that.
Yes.
Melina Nitro Mercury, but just Johnny Nitro, and was it Johnny Mercury as well?
Joey Mercury.
Joey, that's
yeah.
Versus the Hardys. I mean, it was a good match. They're all really good workers.
Yeah.
I'd just say it was pretty standard, with Melina's horrific scream in there.
Oh yeah, that's the one thing I noted about four times.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing extreme about this so far is the word extreme in Team Extreme.
Yeah.
So there's no extreme rules, stipulation or anything.
Yeah.
Normal tag. I do think it went on a little bit too long.
22 minutes.
Yeah.
Way too long.
It seemed even longer as well.
And bear in mind, guys, we are not yet in the PG era at this point. PG era was 2008. So this is still TV 14 at this point.
Somewhere between ruthless aggression and the PG.
Yeah.
But the mire of shit, really.
Yeah, but still TV 14. And like you say, the lack of extreme already was just glaring. And, you know, the people who went there, sorry sons of bitches who went there, were probably expecting something a bit more. And trust me, guys, it only gets worse.
Yeah, I mean, it's having the Hardys to open up is never a bad shout, but it was just, you could have had this match on a SmackDown or Raw, really.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. And I believe this feud started because Mercury and Hardy were feuding over the IC title. And something interesting about this match was this match came about because the Hardys issued an open challenge.
Oh, yeah.
And then Eminem answered it on Raw. But in TNA, the New Age Outlaws, or Voodoo Kin Mafia, whatever they were called, they actually went on TNA's website and publicly answered the open challenge.
Right.
And obviously WWE just like ignored it, and there were like legal issues and stuff. But it was at that time where TNA was just poking WWE. Yeah. So it was just a bit of a mess. What does Jeff think of this? He says, what should have been a high-flying, nostalgia-fueled opener looked like both teams were fighting in somewhat molasses. Eminem are usually very capable of pulling off a decent match. It seemed like they would rather be anywhere else. The Hardys, they tried, but this was less of a return to glory and more like watching your childhood heroes get winded climbing stairs. So yeah, pretty brutal stuff from Jeff.
I think that's a bit savage for the match. I mean, it wasn't anything special, but
no, I just think the atmosphere surrounding the match, I think, was just what really took everyone. I mean, if that match had like a great story going in and there was no, there was other things on the card that looked well put together, I probably would have enjoyed it a lot more.
It's like Tony Khan open challenge booking, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And it does take the enjoyment out of it. 22 minutes is way too fucking long for this show, for this match.
Absolutely.
Melina screaming. Why? Taz was loving it because he had to. Taz is fawning over Melina for half the match, as I'm sure a lot of people do. The crowd.
To be fair, that entrance.
The entrance is iconic, isn't it? And
yeah, classic.
Melina is Melina. And the crowd were kind of into it for the Hardys. They did get behind the Hardys a little bit. And my favorite part of the match was when I think Matt did a crossbody on the outside and the crowd started chanting EC-dub.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh god. Yeah, that's probably about as extreme as it gets for a good 2 hours. But yeah, the Hardy Boys end up winning the match after 22 long minutes. And it's probably the best match on the card, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, there's not much better, definitely.
No. Next up, we cut to an RVD promo in the back. He tries to sell the main event. It just falls flat. I'm not buying what he's selling, you know what I mean?
No, definitely not.
And part of the reason is because next up we had Matt Striker versus Balls Mahoney in we didn't know this at the time. So Matt Striker comes out, and I kind of used to like Matt Striker. He's kind of got that cocky, arrogant heel. He's a good talker. He's just not ECW, is he?
No, definitely not.
No. So Striker comes out and says, my opponent's called Balls. So Vince probably laughing his head off in the back.
Yeah.
And he says this is going to be an Extreme Rules match, but then he says it's going to be an extreme enforcement of the rules, and he basically comes up with these really boring rules and he calls it a Strikers Rules match for Balls Mahoney. And at this point, you just feel like there's an active effort here just to piss on the ECW fans and just make fun of them.
100%.
It's like, not only are we not going to give you an Extreme Rules match, we're going to give you a really limited singles match with two people who have nothing to do with each other, and one of them's one of your own.
Yeah. And did you remember what the rules Striker said were?
So there's no swearing,
no foul language,
no gouging of the eyes.
Yeah.
And I honestly I tuned out at that point.
No top rope moves, no hair pulling, and no biting.
Oh God.
Strikers rules.
Reminds me of the celebrity deathmatch rules. Oh God. So yeah, this was boring. The crowd died really quickly into this match, as you could imagine. I know there was a nice little rope break spot in very ECW, that rope break spot.
That is hardcore.
That is hardcore. I couldn't believe my eyes. And I swear to God, this is the reason I'm sick watching this match. It was just so dull, so boring. Balls Mahoney wins, thank God. Imagine if Matt Striker had won this.
Yeah, and Balls being an ECW original, good to get him on the show, but
yeah,
he's one of those that he's not a technical wrestler.
No, he's a brawler.
Yeah, he needs weapons involved to really make it a decent Balls Mahoney match. I think.
Yep.
Which he didn't.
And I feel like I'm saying this a lot, but the show went downhill from here as well. So Sabu was backstage. He was taken out.
Oh, yeah.
This was probably the worst thing on the show, because when you know the background of why this happened, which we'll get to in a minute. Oh, sorry, I forgot to give Jeff's opinion on Matt Striker. Sorry, we're trying to get through this as quickly as possible because it's painful. So Jeff on Balls Mahoney versus Matt Striker in a Strikers Rules match. Oh, great. A match with Strikers Rules, which apparently means no fun. This was less a wrestling match and more a debate on who could bore the audience to death the quickest. Balls Mahoney is used to swinging chairs like he's trying to swat a fly in slow motion, and Striker was just being Striker, which means nobody gave a flying fuck about this atrocity of a match.
Thumbs up, really?
Yeah, thumbs up from me. That's pretty accurate. Couldn't have said it better myself. In fact, I think Jeff said it better than me.
Yeah, bang on.
Anyway, Sabu, he was backstage. He was taken out, and the crowd immediately chants bullshit because Sabu was supposed to be in the Extreme Elimination Chamber because Heyman wanted him in there. He's obviously one of the most popular ECW originals. People love Sabu. So he's knocked out. He's being taken care of by medical professionals. Paul Heyman says, "Oh my God, what happened?" And the crowd knows what's happening. That he's been taken out of the match, apparently because there was some backstage politics between him and Vince McMahon. They wanted him to cut loads of promos. He didn't want to do that because it's not his strength. And they didn't think he was working for the company, if that makes sense. So they took him out and replaced him with, well, we'll get to that later. Third match, racing through this.
Oh God, yeah.
It's auto corrected it to Elizabeth Burke, but it's actually Elijah Burke, and Sylvester Terkay. I don't remember who that is. I know who Elijah Burke is. I have no idea who Sylvester Terkay is.
Literally, my notes is Elijah Burke and Sylvester Terkay.
Who
TF?
Who the hell is that? In the comments, if anyone knows Sylvester Terkay, first of all, apologise.
No memory of it.
Second of all, who the hell is this guy? They went off against the F.B.I, full-blooded Italians. And just a note, Jeff here has called them the F.B.I, frankly, brother, I don't give a fuck. That's what F.B.I stands for. The F.B.I came out to a deafening silence. It was actually embarrassing.
They had ECW originals as well.
Yeah, because he was Nunzio in WWE, wasn't he? I can't remember what he's called here. Guido or something?
Little Guido, yeah.
Little Guido.
And Tony Mamaluke.
Yeah, I don't know who that is either, but I wasn't huge on ECW when I was younger, until a bit later. But I didn't even make any notes in this match. I just said it was shit.
My notes are pretty short. It's just good enough tag match, but who really cares about these guys?
Yeah, like, honestly.
It's not what I'd expect of them. This is like a match for heat.
Yeah,
one of those,
this is velocity, isn't it? Yeah. And again, these matches were thrown together on the day and then changed on the same day. Everything outside the main event.
Good shit, pal.
That's great shit. What did Jeff think of this? Here's where the card started to smell like week-old roadkill. Burke and Terkay, who could have been something in another universe, were wasted here. The F.B.I, more like the frankly brother I couldn't give a fuck. This match was as memorable as a fart in a hurricane.
Pretty much, yeah.
There's
nothing
there, is there? Not really much else to say. Where did we get to next?
So this is when we've got a little backstage segment of Sabu going to a local medical facility.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
With RVD and Punk standing around looking concerned.
Yeah. And then, again, crowd not impressed. And I think
more bullshit.
People are demanding refunds at this point. Then we get the... Oh, is this the worst match of the night? Tell you what, it's a real fight for worst match of the night, I tell you. This is up there.
It's close.
So, Daivair, accompanied by the great Khali. Just when you thought this show couldn't get any worse, guys.
I've got Daivair and the average Khali.
Daivair and the absolutely terrible Khali.
Yeah.
Versus Tommy Dreamer. Now, I know Tommy Dreamer is ECW embodied. So, we've got Tommy Dreamer, who is absolutely adored by this crowd. And we're going to put him against Daivair, accompanied by Khali, in a singles match. And this match was so extreme that Khali got ejected for pulling down the ropes. That's how extreme this match was. Apart from that, I've just put Daivair wins, lol. And then Khali kills Dreamer after the match with his patented double-handed choke bomb.
Yeah, so to add to that, I've got Khali ejected, but it took a while because I don't think he understood what it meant.
Yeah. He's like, what? And Daivair's trying to speak Punjab, like, you have to leave. I don't know, I don't speak Punjab or whatever.
But then at the end of the match notes, I've just written, still no extreme matches, lol.
Yeah, Tommy Dreamer in a straight-up singles match where he lost by Daivair holding the tights.
Yeah,
which he wasn't even holding the tights. It just looked like he did. So basically, Tommy Dreamer lost clean to Daivair at an ECW pay-per-view. Fuck you, ECW fans. Am I right?
Yeah, apparently so.
Yep. Jeff's thoughts on this match were Extreme Rules my ass. Tommy Dreamer didn't even bleed. This was about as extreme as a mildly spicy taco. Dreamer was embarrassed, much like all of his fans, and why? Not even any hardcore shtick could have saved this snooze fest. Daivair tried, bless him, but trying in this context was equivalent to pissing in the ocean to raise sea levels. Oh dear. So yeah, no 5-star bangers yet from Jeff. No. I'm still confident. What do we have next? We've got the Paul Heyman backstage segment where he speaks with Hardcore Holly and asks him to replace Sabu. And the crowd
is saved.
The crowd at this point just go, "Oh, for God's sake!" It's not a boo. It's not heat. It's just groan.
Yeah.
It's just like, for fuck's sake.
My reaction was the same.
Yeah.
Really.
It's just, oh God.
Really?
Yeah. And you've got this heel Paul Heyman with Big Show and Test, and it's all very bad. Anyway, time for another match. Kelly and Mike Knox, the happy couple, versus Kevin Thorne and Ariel. We'll start off with Jeff on this one. So Jeff actually has some praise for Thorne and Knox. But he says, "Oh look, a mixed tag match designed to make you question your life choices. Ariel and Kelly have the wrestling acumen of a wet paper bag, and while Thorne and Knox could have had potential, they were bogged down by the vampire goth nonsense. The only thing missing here was some shitty 2006 emo music to compete the misery." Well then, I mean, I liked Knox and Thorne as wrestlers, and I felt bad for them in this environment. So the first thing Kelly does is, because the whole story was that Kelly had a thing for CM Punk, and she sort of, before the match starts, she grabs a microphone and she cowers in the corner and goes, "Good luck, CM Punk." So that was really odd. And then Ariel and Kevin Thorne come out, and Ariel basically is on the apron screaming with her ass out, and you'll notice that the time the crowd cheers is when that happens.
Yeah, that was pretty much the high point of the whole show for me.
Yeah, I'd say so.
It sounds a bit, I don't know, maybe, I don't want to say misogynistic, but I mean, it was the best bit, just objectively.
I mean, I think it says more about how bad everything else was.
Yeah, it's a sign of the times as well.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Just ass is the best part of the match.
Yeah, it's a very sorry state of affairs in general.
Yeah.
I was dreading, because obviously it starts with Kevin Thorne and Mike Knox, and I was saying, oh, please don't tag. Just please don't tag. And then a tag's made. Ariel comes in, and then Kelly's unfortunately forced to come in. And people see Kelly in the recent Royal Rumbles as like a legend. I use that word very loosely.
Yeah.
And people go, oh, I wonder what Kelly was like back in the day. It's like, go watch this match.
Yeah.
And then you'll find out. So
called her an exhibitionist.
They called her an exhibitionist.
She got
yes.
her tits out.
Yeah. Exhibitionist is a PG term for what Kronus just said. Stripper. Yeah, essentially. So Ariel and Kelly are in the ring, and Kelly's selling, man. I said it. She is not Sally. She gets kicked in the stomach, and then about 6 months later, she goes, "Oh, that hurt," and there's just there's nothing there with Kelly, and I'm sure she's a lovely woman, but this was bad. Ariel had all the offense here, and she wasn't that impressive either, to be honest.
No.
And this whole match was just nothing. And like I said, the crowd only cheered when Ariel's legs were extended. That's literally. And then Taz says Kelly's a diva, not a wrestler. Just buries her on commentary. But it's true. And then I think this was meant a different way. But when Ariel pins Kelly, Joey Styles says, "Mercifully, this match is over." And I was like, that is my thoughts exactly, because that was torture.
Yeah, it was.
Ariel wins. And then we probably get the biggest pop of the night, don't we?
Yeah, so Ariel's beating down Kelly after the match. And then we get ECW Jesus, basically.
Yeah.
Sandman coming through the crowd.
Yep. And this got a huge pop because it's Sandman and ECW. It was quite a cheap pop, I'd say, but a pop nonetheless. And I think the most extreme thing of the night was him busting himself open with a can of beer.
Yeah. First blood so far.
Yeah, exactly. We are basically at the main event, and the only blood has been from Sandman hitting himself with a beer can. So he comes out and he basically beats up Kevin Thorne and then drinks a beer on stage just to make people happy. Don't know why he wasn't on the show, but you know.
They must have just run out of room with all the
matches. With all the ECW legends like Joey Mercury and Daivair.
Yeah.
And Matt Striker. Oh god, right. Main event.
Here we go.
Alright, so this is an extreme elimination chamber match. So it's CM Punk versus Bobby Lashley versus the champion Big Show versus Hardcore Holly versus RVD versus Test. So I think we start off with RVD versus Hardcore Holly. There were actually some spots in this that I did like this match.
Yeah.
There was actually some color as well. It was fairly extreme, but not enough to make up for the lack of extreme on the rest of the show. So we start off with Hardcore Holly and RVD. Then CM Punk comes in. CM Punk gets a huge pop. I think everybody wanted CM Punk to win this match, apart from Vince McMahon. So apparently what was supposed to happen here was CM Punk was supposed to eliminate the Big Show first.
Right.
So that we would guarantee a new champion. It would put Punk over as eliminating the champion. But Vince McMahon decided that CM Punk should just get eliminated first instead. And that's what happened. CM Punk came in. I thought he had some good spots with RVD. Do you remember that bit where he ducks the Van Daminator and jumps the leg sweep and turns it into a famous in one kind of movement? That was pretty cool. That was smooth. And it was just so obvious how over CM Punk was, and he was the fans' choice here, along with RVD. And then CM Punk gets eliminated by RVD, and then we get Test. No, Test comes in before that.
I think it's Holly after Punk.
Holly's in first, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Holly, RVD, CM Punk, then Test comes out. And Test, I've always liked it. I've always liked Test. Again, I just didn't care about him in this era. And Test, so each of the wrestlers came out with a certain weapon, didn't they? So Punk brings in the chair, Obviously, the 2 originals start with nothing. Tess brought in a crowbar, and he did the whole dig the crowbar into RVD's forehead, which looked pretty brutal. Kind of thing you'd only see in A.W. nowadays.
Yeah.
And then we get, after Test, we get the Big Show. No, Bobby Lashley. And then by this point, there's 3 quick eliminations. Punk's eliminated, Hardcore Holly's eliminated, and RVD's eliminated. So we're down to Test, Bobby Lashley, who's in the pod, and Big Show's in the pod. So then we get to Bobby Lashley coming out, and there's these goons that Heyman has.
Yeah.
They kind of lock Bobby in his pod with a table. And I imagine that takes up a lot of space. So it's obviously quite difficult to wield that thing inside a small pod. Yeah. And Lashley just kind of jams it up and severs the chains at the top of the pod and climbs out and kicks Test's ass. Any thoughts so far?
I mean, there's some really strong chains.
Yeah.
Not.
Yeah. But, made of plastic, I'm guessing.
There was a pretty good spot. So before that, the eliminations where RVD sort of climbs up, I think it's Big Show's chamber, and Show sort of pulls him through for Test to then follow him up, throw him off, and then Test climbs up the chamber. This is Test climbing up the top of a chamber.
Yeah, 6'8" was he?
Yeah, and then jumps off for an elbow drop.
Yeah,
on RVD,
and,
which I think is what eliminates him.
Yeah, and when I saw that, I instantly thought of Adam Copeland and Malachi Black.
Oh yeah,
because I think Tess did it correctly. He actually just took the weight on his side, and he obviously might have hurt his ribs or his arm, but at least he didn't break his leg. I'm guessing. Absolutely. But you're right. It looked amazing. And we love Test. Just didn't like how he was being used. God rest his soul as well. Rest in peace, Test.
Yeah, rip.
So Bobby Lashley's in there with Test, and Bobby Lashley makes quick work of him. And then, oh look, we're down to Bobby Lashley and Big Show. Nobody saw that coming. And then, again, it's pretty standard stuff, isn't it? Bobby Lashley hits a spear on Big Show, and he becomes the new champion.
Pretty much.
And then he walks up the ramp, and the show goes off the air. It's like, thanks for the $50, guys. Well, money well spent. What did Jeff think of this? Here it is, the pièce de résistance of crap. 6 men enter, fans leave in droves. Big Show in an ECW ring should have been like a bull in a china shop, but instead it was like watching a sloth wrestle. CM Punk, the hope of ECW, eliminated first, genius move, and Bobby Lashley winning was the shittest cherry on top of the turd sundae. This wasn't a match, it was an endurance test for the audience's patience.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there was some spots, as we said, that were decent, but terrible booking of it.
Yeah.
Really Punk. I know I give him shit now, but it should have been Punk back then, definitely.
Yeah, because he was the best wrestler. He was the most over. He was the up-and-comer. Yeah. But, you know. And then shortly, the day after this pay-per-view, Paul Heyman left his position at WWE for 6 years.
Yeah.
So...
that says it all.
There you go. Some final thoughts from Jeff. December to Dismember 06 wasn't just a failure, it was an outright betrayal of wrestling fans' intelligence. It was like ordering a gourmet meal and getting served a literal pile of steaming manure. Each match was a new level of hell, crafted with the care and attention of someone who hates wrestling and its fans. If disappointment was an art, this pay-per-view would be the fucking Mona Lisa. Here's to hoping everyone involved got a nice long vacation after this, because they fucking needed one after shitting the bed this badly.
Jesus, yeah.
So there we go.
It's savage, but not at all unwarranted.
No, I kind of agree. But yeah, that was December to Dismember, guys. Let us know your thoughts in the comments on your opinions on this pay-per-view. Spoiler alert, it's terrible. We will be banning any comments that say it's good. Anything else to add, Kronus?
Only that right at the end I called it December to Dismay.
Oh, December to Dismay. I like that.
Dismember.
Certainly not one to remember, that's for sure.
No, it was awful.
All right, guys.
I don't have to watch that again.
Yeah, exactly. We'll be watching more terrible pay-per-views very soon. And also, our next video, we have WWE versus A.I.W, the ultimate pay-per-view. Look forward to that.
That'll be a good one.
All right. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.